welcome to the Trent Jackson Athletic Complex here at Franklin High School. My name is Matt Stathopoulos, bringing you today's action. We have the Leadership Academy Lions versus the East High Eagles here at Franklin High School. It's the last regular season game for both teams, but teams still have a lot to play for, and it's a great day outside. The weather's been great. Obviously, the seniors are about to be honored right now. So there's still a lot to play for. A lot of these kids are going to be playing for their last time in high school football, so it should be a fantastic afternoon with great weather to spare and ready to play some football. I know I'm usually joined by George Radney on these broadcasts. He is not here today. I'm by myself today, but we're sure glad that you have joined us, and I hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Our second senior representing the Northeast Campus.
Get set here is we've got the Leadership Academy Athletic Director providing the announcements today. His name is Rob Thomas. Fantastic season indeed by him for putting everything together and for helping to make today's broadcast possible.
The next senior.
Oh, we've got a second here. I'd like to take the time to get you set with some notes for today's game that was provided to us by leadership. Some stats to look forward to and maybe some guys to keep an eye on. Last week in his first varsity start at running back, sophomore Calvin Washington rushed for 13 times, picking up 130 yards. So a fantastic first experience of varsity football at running back for Mr. Calvin Washington indeed. Additionally, Courtney Cooley-Francis has been the team's leading rusher with 51 carries and 241 yards and 2 touchdowns. So a team like Leadership who claims to be more so predominantly on the running, keeping it on the ground type of thing. We'll see what kind of game those two can come out to this afternoon. And additionally, at quarterback, Marcus Barr has rushed 25 times for 179 yards and 2 touchdowns as well, while we're in the same conversation of rushing yards. But a lot of different things to keep in mind for today, but obviously only time will tell how it all plays out. And I know for those of you who have referred to some games that we've done earlier this season, George and I that is, we've seen East quite a bit. We saw them take on Churchville-Chili as well as Wilson. The Churchville-Chili game was definitely a lot closer than the Wilson game, but obviously those games are in the rearview mirror now for East, and their only focus is the task at hand this afternoon against Leadership. So we'll see how all of that plays out as we get some shots here of the Leadership seniors making their way to midfield to receive their honors.
The next Northeast is number 57, Shamar. I'd like to thank the Challenger. We plan on attending GCC study all weekend. Good for you, Carson. Another Northeast representative, number 58, Janelle Grayson. You'd like to thank Tracy Davis.
Just to clear up any confusion for those of you who may be following along, you might be hearing the different names of different schools being announced with some of these seniors. The Leadership Academy is a combined team from the Leadership football team is a combined team from Leadership and the Franklin campus. And the Franklin campus consists of 2 schools, the Integrated Arts and Technology and Vanguard Collegiate High School. So just to clear up any confusion for those of you who may be listening in and hearing the many different school names that are being announced with accordingly to the seniors who are being honored.
I'd also like to thank the Leadership Academy staff, led by Coach Peter Hall, for their dedication and hard work for assisting these young men. Once again, I'd like to welcome you to Trent Jackson Stadium, Leadership Academy Layne, taking on East High Eagles today's varsity football match. In accordance with Section 5 of the New York State Public High School Athletic Association, I'd like you to understand good sportsmanship is considered an important aspect of all athletic competition. The National Federation of State High School Association and State Association require officials to enforce sportsmanship rules. I should like to emphasize positive values in all those who are contributing to teamwork, respect, responsibility, and respect. We remind you that we expect good behavior to quickly penalize misconduct. We let this competition reflect mutual respect among all participants, coaches,
as we await the opening kickoff of the first quarter here at the Trent Jackson Athletic Complex of Franklin High School, we'd like to thank our entire staff who's helping make this broadcast possible. Once again, my name is Matthew Stathopoulos. I'm joining you guys for the entire broadcast, obviously bringing you all the game action here, but would also like to thank Josh and Brandon for their camera works. Josh is a freshman at East High School who's joining us today for assist with the broadcast. And of course, we'd like to thank Todd Hall, the main man in charge here, who has everything coordinated and ready to go for a fantastic broadcast as we've had all season.
Coaches,
momentarily we will hear the presentation of the national anthem, but while we're awaiting that, we might as well talk about the matchup that we have going here. We haven't seen a whole lot of leadership on our broadcast, but for those of you who remember the previous games with East involved, we remember some of their key guys that they had, you know, whether it be Jatavian James Simmons or Freddie Brock. Obviously, with this being the last regular season game, those guys are going to be relied upon heavily, so it's interesting to see what kind of match that they will have, and hopefully for East's sake, they will be ready to bring it. But as we get set for kickoff, we've got the national anthem coming up momentarily. As always, a great rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner to get us started for today's contest. Once again, if you're joining us late, this is the Leadership Academy Lions versus the East High Eagles, and my name is Matt Stathopoulos, ready to bring to you all of today's action.
Boss, you tell her right there? You see her?
we mentioned in the opening, based off of the games that we've done that have involved East High earlier this season, the coaching staff really likes to change up their quarterbacks whenever they feel necessary, which in this season's case has been quite a few times. I remember the game against Wilson. Now, obviously, that game might be a little bit unfair to refer to because they had been outplayed for the duration of the game, I would say. But, you know, also, I guess it depends on what kind of offense they're trying to run. If they want a more quarterback who's going to throw the ball more and maybe complement their receivers and their other weapons, or if a quarterback is going to keep the ball on the ground a little bit more, depending on whatever style they feel like, they'll pick the corresponding quarterback. But it should be interesting to see how it plays out. Obviously, Wilson was one of the more difficult competitions for East High. Not sure how leadership will match up against them, but that's why we're here to play the game, to see how it ends up. Certainly is not the same without George Radney on the broadcast, but I'll do my best here to provide some color commentary as well. We always appreciate George and all of his added analysis that he would bring to each and every broadcast that we've had so far this season. And there we have the conclusion of the coin toss as we get set to kick off here at the Trent Jackson Athletic Complex at Franklin High School. You see the leadership coaching staff gathering their players around for last-minute touch-ups, last-minute advice to make sure everybody's on the same page and ready to bring all that they got in what is the final regular season game of the 2017 Section 5 high school football season. It certainly has been a treat for myself to be a part of several of these broadcasts, and I look forward to obviously this one at hand, and we'll see what is in store for the future. But meanwhile, with this game on tap, we've got East kicking the ball off to the Lions to start us off. And it appears Kenny Wilson will be the one taking care of the kicking duties today, at least for kicking it off to the opposing team whenever necessary. Leadership has Marcus Barr in the center backfield near the end zone, ready to return it. And both teams now just awaiting the opening whistle, and we will be set to go here at Franklin High School. And for one last time in the regular season, we are underway here at the Trent Jackson Athletic Complex, and the flags are down to start us off, as that is going to come back for illegal procedure on East as a result of the kickoff going out of bounds. Well, the leadership offense will go to work with their first possession of the game, and obviously the game's first possession in all. And they will start off at the 35-yard line in their own territory, as I believe it will be Marcus Barr leading his offensive staff out there. First and 10 from the 35. Barr with a quick handoff. Up the middle they go. And into it's going to be
Calvin Washington on the carry for Leadership, a gain of about a few. Second down and 7 from just shy of the 40-yard line, and here's Barr to the line again. Another handoff up the middle, a gain of about more, and it appears that he did pick up the first down, and he did, yes. And that was not Calvin Washington on the carry this time around to pick up that first down. It was Eduardo Flowers. And Leadership moving the ball well to start things off here. Yes, it's only been 2 plays, but based off of some of the other games we've done this year, we've seen a lot of teams struggle to move the ball early. And here's Barr to the line again. Another handoff. Up the middle they go. Maybe got about a yard, but he's eventually brought down just before the 50-yard line. And that will be Courtney Cooley-Francis. We mentioned him in our opening, how he's been a fantastic rusher for Leadership Academy thus far this season. And one of the notes that was brought to our attention by the Leadership coaching staff was that they do like to spread the ball around on the ground throughout the game. So it's not uncommon to see many other guys share it. And there's another quick handoff up the middle on second down. And that will bring up third. Limping off the field there is Courtney Cooley-Francis, and now he goes down to the field. As there we get a shot of him there for those of you who just see him. I'm not sure. It looks like it's his right leg that he was limping on. So teams will get both teams, I should say, will get a bit of a timeout here to kind of regroup and settle themselves down while Cooley-Francis gets attended to by the medical staff.
Yeah, he's got a beard on.
For those of you who missed our opening, Courtney Cooley-Francis is the leading rusher for Leadership Academy, carrying the ball 51 times this season for 241 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's been busy this year trying to help out his team as much as possible with keeping the ball on the ground and picking up as many yards as possible. And now he has gotten to his feet and appears to be okay, but I'm sure he'll take it easy for these next few plays. It'll be third down from about the 50-yard line for Leadership. Barr with a handoff to Washington. He's immediately met at the line of scrimmage and brought down for a loss of yards. That'll bring up fourth down. Not much Calvin Washington could do on that play, as it was a nice snap and a nice handoff, of course, by Leadership, but when the defense is right up in your face at the line of scrimmage, obviously there's not a whole lot of room for you to run, and therefore brings up the loss as the punting unit will make its way to the field now for Leadership. Just over 9 minutes to go in this first quarter. That was the first possession of the game. Obviously no score just yet, and the punt is blocked. It's eventually recovered by Leadership. Marcus Barr recovering it, not allowing East to pick the ball up and run in the other direction. But a fantastic play there by the East Eagles to block the punt and set themselves up with fantastic field position. Now, in Section 5 high school football, the odds are saying that you're not going to get a return that will set you up with the field position that East has right now. So I'm sure the Eagles will take this one.
and go with it.
As their offensive unit will get their first crack at putting some points on the board as the referee helps out the quarterback there. I believe that's Jalen Holmes, or maybe trying to get the number of those jerseys. No, it's Kenny Wilson, actually. He throws over the middle, and it's complete to Andre Jenkins, and he goes down the right side. Sorry, that was not over the middle. He ran it more to the outside, but a nice gain there by East. A nice quick passing play by the Eagles as Andre Jenkins, who we didn't see a lot of in the last couple of games that we've done, as far as, you know, making receptions and picking up yards, but he made a great play there, that's for sure. It's actually going to be 2nd down and 2. Here's a quick handoff up the middle, and a big gain here for the Eagles. Definitely the 1st down and more. So it'll be 1st down from inside the red zone for East High, as they are threatening early here. Kenny Wilson moving the ball well with a 1st down pass, and obviously with the handoff after, and he hands that one up the middle to Justice Barnes, it looks like, and he's brought down.
These are the lions.
So that was actually for a loss of yards with the Eagles, so that takes them out of the red zone now, and it'll be 2nd down and 13. Or sorry, not out of the red zone, but obviously a little bit further back. As the officials discussing something over there, I think they're telling the leadership Lions to stay on their sideline and not be on the field, as the flag was thrown for that. There's another quick whistle after the snap. No play on that last sequence there, so this will bring up 2nd down and 13 now, as it's Kenny Wilson out of the gun, and he'll hand it up off the middle. Up the middle they go, and that will bring up 3rd down as a gain of a few. This will be 3rd down for the Eagles, as a drive that started off rather well for them and rather quick. Now it's becoming a little bit slower as they're having trouble moving in now, but they're still in pretty good hands, as it'll be 3rd down and 8. Out of the gun Wilson, a handoff up the middle, and not much there for the Eagles, as this will bring up 4th down, as that was Freddie Brock on the carry. Freddie Brock is a guy who the Eagles have relied on heavily this season, and rightfully so. He is very talented. He's got a lot of speed. He has the ability to make plays, so there's certainly nothing wrong with that. And no surprise seeing them get it to him on that 3rd down play. But we'll see what they got here, as it's going to be 4th and 9, and they're going to go for it. I like the riskiness here by East. As here's Wilson back to pass over the middle, and it's intercepted. Yes, it was bobbled multiple times, but eventually intercepted by Courtney Cooley-Francis. So not only can he run and rush for many yards for leadership, but he can also make plays on the defensive side of the game, as he was able to come up with that interception. Now leadership is going to end up with some difficult field position to work with, but obviously they'll take the turnover and change of possession if it means that East does not put up any points. So a great play there by Courtney Cooley-Francis to make the interception and turn the ball over for his team, in his team's favor, I should say. Definitely one Kenny Wilson obviously would like to have back for East, but that one's in the past now, as here is leadership looking to make some moves up the field as Marcus Barr was brought down. And there's going to be a flag on the play, or might be a personal foul call. I'm trying to get the official. They're discussing it now. And yeah, obviously unsportsmanlike conduct on East. So leadership will gladly take the extra yards that are coming. A 15-yard penalty. We saw this at the Wilson game that we did, where East was taking on the Wildcats. There was a time throughout the game, obviously they were getting beat pretty well, and they let their emotions get the most of them, and it ended up costing them extra yards. And this early in a game, a 0-0 game, you don't want to see them getting into that kind of trouble for their sake, because they're, as pretty straightforward, they're only hurting themselves. As we're down to just over 5 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. Barr with the handoff to Washington. He's got nowhere to go, and he's brought down for a loss. That's a good follow-up there by East High after taking a lucrative penalty and giving leadership essentially 15 free yards to make a good stop on such a good runner that is Calvin Washington. It's interesting when you compare the two teams. East, an offense that really likes to work out of the shotgun. Leadership, not so much. They usually get up to the line and make their plays. As there's a handoff to Cooley-Francis. He goes down the left side, has the first down and more inside the 40-yard line, and eventually ran out of bounds. That's that leading rusher mentality for the leadership Lions, as Cooley-Francis saw an opening and took advantage of it, picking up the first down and much, much more to give the Lions possession in East territory. As the ball will be marked at about the 40-yard line. Obviously it'll be first down and 10. Marcus Barr to the line. One more time to Cooley-Francis, but this time he goes nowhere, and this will be a loss of yards for leadership. Marcus Barr putting his hands up when looking at the coach, wondering what went wrong on that play, or maybe they're both confused on that play, but either way, leadership will get another crack at it here on second down. If I remember correctly, I don't believe we've seen leadership attempt to put the ball in the air at all so far in this first quarter, as now Barr will step back and he'll throw to the right side. That one's complete to Maurice Glenn, and he has enough for the first down. A first down and about 5 more, as a nice simple play. Marcus Barr with the quick rollout to the right side, and he found Maurice Glenn just above the line of scrimmage, but Glenn had a lot of room to work with, and he sure took advantage of it. And now you see East in a little bit of trouble here, as the Lions offense are the ones threatening from about the 24-yard line. Barr with a handoff up the middle to Washington. He's quickly met there by Chris Washington of the East Eagles. So Calvin Washington on the carry for the Lions, and Chris Washington coming up with the stop, or the initial contact at least, for East. 2:45 to go in this first quarter. We're still waiting our first points up on the board, as East was threatening the last drive. It eventually got turned over, and ever since then, Leadership has been moving the ball well, and they are inside the 25-yard line now, as Marcus Barr will step to the line once again on second down. He'll hand it to Cooley Francis. Francis breaks a few tackles and is eventually brought down at the 15-yard line. And it will be 3rd and inches for Leadership. Now, obviously, this one is pretty big here, because that depending on the yardage that you get, it could set up 1st and goal. But obviously, Leadership just trying to move the ball a little bit to give themselves another chance here, as Barr will take it up the middle, and he has enough for the first. Leadership continuing to move the ball well. It's been a joint effort. We've seen, obviously, Cooley Francis get the ball a handful of times. Calvin Washington has had a couple of handoffs. Marcus Barr has completed a pass this drive. That was to Maurice Glenn, which was a gain of probably about 15 yards. But however way you spin it, Leadership is moving the ball well, and now they are really threatening, as this will bring up 1st down and goal. From the 10, Barr, the handoff to Washington, up the middle he goes, and into the end zone for the Lions touchdown. Well, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it, as Leadership was moving the ball fairly well that entire drive, as Calvin Washington finishes it off and puts the first score on the board for either team here in this opening quarter at Trent Jackson Athletic Complex, as we're down to 1:27 remaining in this opening quarter. Leadership will go for 2, and there's a flag on the play, as Barr took it up the middle himself. And it's going to be a false start on the Lions. So we'll have a replay of the 2-point conversion, but obviously from a little bit further back due to the penalty. Not sure if the Lions are in range to try that quarterback sneak once again, and it's going to be a timeout called now on the Lions, as the coaching staff did not like what they saw with the formation. So quite the drive for the Leadership Lions, a drive that started with an interception by Courtney Cooley Francis back inside their own 5-yard line that the Eagles threw, and then very, very cautiously, very patiently, the Lions brought the ball up the field in the other direction, and eventually it was Calvin Washington who finished off the play with the rushing touchdown, about a 10-yard rush. And now we're back and forth with a penalty called and then a timeout called, as the Lions are trying to complete the 2-point conversion.
Come on, boys.
We'll try this again, the 3rd time we'll try this 2-point conversion. Barr to the line, and a handoff, and he's going to pass. It's going to be caught, but out of bounds, as that was a nice toss to Courtney Cooley Francis, and instead of trying to run it, he tried to hit Eduardo Flowers for that 2-point conversion. Flowers was able to come down with it, but his feet were not able to stay in bounds, so the 2-point conversion is no good.
6-0 the score reads in favor of Leadership. With time winding down in this opening quarter, 1:27 remaining to be exact. They will kick it off to East momentarily. And if you're the East High Eagles, one thing that we've noticed from the games that we've done already this season is the trouble they have with turning the ball over. And sure enough, it bites them in this case as well. I mean, we saw against Wilson, they probably had about 4 or 5 very crucial turnovers that left, you know, them helpless and whatnot. I mean, how can you're not helping yourself obviously by, you know, not allowing your offense to go to work and constantly pounding your defense and having them to come up with stops. So that's obviously still the challenge for East at hand. We'll see if anything changes throughout, but nonetheless a good start for Leadership, and obviously something that they have to be proud of as they get set to kick it away for the first time of the game.
Jalen Holmes, one of the receivers back to return for East. We've seen him return the ball quite a bit for this East Eagles team, as Calvin Washington will kick it off for Leadership. It's fielded there inside the 15 and brought ahead now by the Eagles. That's Freddie Brock. Freddie Brock down the right side past the 50-yard line and into enemy territory. Freddie Brock, we talked about him and the wheels that he has. We've talked about him multiple times this season, to be exact, and he has an above-average return there for the Eagles. Now we'll try and get a look here at the East offense once again. They were the ones who ended up with great field position their first time around after blocking a punt, but obviously the interception nullified all of that.
Let him know that number 8 is Freddie Brock.
10-4. Number 8 is Freddie Brock.
First and 10 for East from the 49-yard line. A handoff up the middle they go. He's eventually brought down short of the first down, but nonetheless a great rush by number 20, Trey Dollar. Remember the game against Wilson, we saw Deljon Johnson get the handoffs quite a bit for East. Don't believe we've seen him thus far in the game, but so far on this drive, East is moving the ball. It'll be second down in a few. A handoff to Freddie Brock when he's brought down, and this is going to be a big loss for East. So Freddie Brock gets the handoff after a gain of about 8 by East, and now they're in a worse situation from when they started. Yeah, I believe the ball was slightly forward when the drive began, and now, after a gain of about 8 before, they've got an uphill climb here on third down. As that will take us to the end of the first quarter here at the Trent Jackson Athletic Complex on the Franklin campus. It's the Leadership Academy Lions on top of the East Eagles by a score of 6-0 so far in what is the final regular season game of the 2017 Section 5 high school football season. Once again, my name is Matt Stathopoulos. We're glad that you've joined us for today's broadcast. We'd like to say thank you to our broadcast crew, everybody involved. We've got Brandon and Josh on cameras, and of course always a big thank you to Mr. Todd Hall for putting everything together and being the glue that keeps us all together to make these broadcasts possible. And might we also thank the athletic directors from both teams. Leadership, Mr. Rob Thomas, doing a great job as always, and East Athletic Director as well, Eric Robinson. As teams will convene on their respective sidelines as we await the beginning of the second quarter For those of you that might be joining us a little bit late, it was Calvin Washington picking up the only score of the game. It was a touchdown, about a 10-yard carry. And that's where we stand thus far in the game. It was a fantastic drive for the Leadership Lions that began in their own territory, inside their own 5-yard line. But a lot of patience, a lot of steady plays, and I guess you can say perseverance by the Lions is what got them to the end zone and eventually finished off the play and allowed them to strike first. As here we begin, it'll be 3rd down and 10 to start the second quarter. 3rd down and 10 for East, that is. Kenny Wilson from the gun. He rolls to his right. Throws downfield, and it is complete down the right side to Freddie Brock. And that is enough for the first down for the Eagles. And talk about a time when you need a big play. I would say that was definitely one of those times, and they indeed came up with that big play as Kenny Wilson, nice awareness to roll to his right, give himself more room and more time to work with. And obviously good vision to see Freddie open on that right side and pick up the big gain, as it will be first down from the 37-yard line. Wilson out of the gun again, a handoff to Johnson. Johnson takes a big hit as he was originally brought down by Washington, and then additional players started coming in, and he took a big hit up high. I don't believe he got hit in the head, though. It looked like more so the shoulder was the main area of contact, but still, big hit indeed, and a nice stop there by Leadership.
The football format is you have one camera for offense, one camera for defense.
Timeout is called here, so yeah, it's an East calling the timeout, so both teams will have an opportunity to reconvene and draw up their next plan of attack. Is I don't know what kind of difference it'll make for East. I guess, I mean, they did have a big play on 3rd down, as we mentioned earlier, but when all that momentum kind of comes crashing down, when you hand it off to a good back that you have in Johnson and he gets stopped, perhaps the coaching staff just wants an additional look. Overall, though, I'd say the Leadership coaching staff, Peter Hoff and his staff, definitely has a lot to be proud of thus far in the game. They're obviously winning. They were the ones who struck first. But I'd say from top to bottom, the team has looked pretty solid thus far. Still early in the game, but still something good to work off of. As we're down to 11:23 remaining in the first half, second quarter to be exact. And it'll be 2nd down for East. The handoff to Brock. He's trying to get away. He does get away momentarily up the right side and out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Not enough for the first down, but it is within reach here on 3rd down, and the Eagles converted last time on 3rd and long, so a much smaller task at hand here, but equally just as important to keep this drive going. A phenomenal play on that last drive there, on that last rush by Freddie Brock to get away from all the pressure and get as many yards as possible out of that. But let's see what they have in store here on this crucial 3rd down. Wilson to Brock once again, and he's not going to get away from the pressure. That will bring up 4th down. It's Calvin Washington on the tackle for Leadership. That Calvin Washington, he's not the only running back the Lions have who also contributes defensively. As for those of you who are joining us late, it was Courtney Cooley Francis for the Lions who came up with the interception on the play that eventually led to Leadership going back down the field and getting their first touchdown. But the running backs are also contributing defensively for the Lions here. It'll be 4th down, and it looks like they're going for it, the Eagles are. Wilson will roll out to the left. The quick pass is complete, but it is not going to bring up the 1st down, and the Lions will take over. So the Lions will now get their first possession of the 2nd quarter after a great stop on the attempt to pick up the 1st down off of 4th and long, I guess you can say, for East. So we'll see how Leadership capitalizes on any momentum that they may have built by getting such a big stop. You know, Marcus Barr, the quarterback for the Leadership Lions, has only had, I think, 1 or 2 attempts. He did complete one of them, but he's done his job well so far, and here he is on 1st down, handing it off to Calvin Washington. Washington will not pick up anything on that attempt. Mentioned Marcus Barr. I mean, obviously, you know, his running backs have helped him out a lot with actually the ones who are picking up the yardage and rushing the ball, but still at the same time, you know, Marcus has got to be on top of his game with the right mindset, because we've seen in games past where East has even had some mishaps with handoffs, and other teams have as well. So props to Marcus Barr, in addition to his 2 running backs, Calvin Washington and Courtney Cooley-Francis. And here's a screen pass to Maurice Glenn. He leaps over the defensive back to pick up a few extra yards, and there is a flag down. Maurice Glenn with his 2nd reception of the afternoon, picking up some yards. Will await the call from the official, and it's going to be against Leadership. So that play will come back. What an effort by Maurice Glenn. So a drastic loss of yardage for the Lions as a result of this penalty, as we're down to 9:29 remaining in the 2nd quarter. So this will be 2nd down for Leadership now. 2nd down and 22, we're calling it. We'll see what kind of response they can have here. Here's a reverse run, and it'll be Glenn on the carry down the right side. He picks up a gain of more than 10, I'd say, and now he's close to the 1st down. I think it'll be 3rd and about 3 for the Lions. As a nice little trick play by the Leadership coaching staff there. The handoff was to Courtney Cooley-Francis, and then Maurice Glenn was running in the opposite direction to carry it down the right side, and he picked up a great chunk of yards, but there's still work to do here for Leadership, as it will be 3rd down. 3rd down and about 3, as we mentioned before. Barr to the line, and he's going to take it up the middle himself, and he won't go too far, as that'll bring up 4th down. That's probably the 3rd or 4th time we've seen Marcus Barr take the ball up the middle. He's usually gained, I should say, at least on a few of those attempts, he's gained about 2 or 3 yards, but this time around, not so much, as it'll bring up 4th down, and the punting unit is on. The last time the Lions attempted to punt, East came up with a big block, as it's going to be Jaquez Cochran to take care of the punting duties here. Cochran gets the kickoff this time. Fair catch signaled and fielded there nicely by Malik McCray. Malik McCray immediately signaling for a fair catch once that ball was up in the air, as the pressure was coming from the Leadership Lions. Ball will be placed in East territory on the 31-yard line, and that is where they will take over here as they look to respond to the Lions' first quarter touchdown. It is the only score of the game we have seen thus far, as it's Kenny Wilson out of the gun. A handoff up the middle to Johnson. He picks up about 3 or 4, I would say. This will bring up second down for East. Here's the snap to Wilson. He fakes the handoff and takes it himself and has enough for the first down and springs forward for a few more. If you weren't watching closely on that last play, you may have missed the fake handoff. It was very quick by Kenny Wilson, but good on him to take it the rest of the way and pick up the first eventually and gain a few more in the process, as this will bring up first down from the 46-yard line. Here's the snap, and the handoff up the middle goes Johnson, and he's brought down. The last game we did, John Johnson had about, I'd say, 3 or 4 10-plus yard rushes that really sprung his team and brought the momentum in their direction. That's definitely something that East could go for right now. Is credit the Lions for doing a great job stopping Johnson and not allowing him to get that space, as this will be second down and 10 for East. Wilson, the handoff to Freddie Brock to the left side. He goes. He tries to cut in, but the Lions don't allow him, and this will bring up third down. Freddie Brock is definitely the game breaker for East. I like how they try and implement him into the plays, to build off of something that they've already accomplished. But on that point, he did pick up a few yards, but not a whole lot. It'll still be third and a good amount. I'd say about 3rd and 7 for the Eagles, as we'll see what they have in store for us here. John Johnson in the backfield with Wilson, and it's a bad snap. Wilson goes back to recover it. He does, and he'll just fall on it to not take any risks. So that will bring up fourth down for East. I don't believe they're going to try and go for anything here. I'm sure they'll kick this one away, but obviously an opportunity for East, spoiled by a bad snap. Bit of a break there for the Lions, but they're working hard, so they're making their breaks happen. As there, Marcus Barr fields the punt, and he breaks a few tackles, spins off of another one, and gets it to just about the 40-yard line in East territory. So a fantastic return by Marcus Barr on the punt, setting up great field position for the Lions. We are down to 5:08 remaining in this second quarter. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line for the Lions, as Marcus Barr, the quarterback of this Lions team, fielding that punt himself and picking up the good field position in the process. Calvin Washington and Courtney Cooley-Francis both in the backfield for the Lions, trying to keep East guessing, but Barr will hang on to the ball. He looks for a space. He doesn't find any. He is eventually brought down, and his helmet was ripped off, as that was Andre Jenkins on the tackle for East. Marcus Barr, I believe it was a fake handoff play and to have a QB rollout, but he had nowhere to go, and he knew it real fast as he makes his way over to the sideline. We'll try and get a look at who will be in at quarterback on this second down for the Lions. It's going to be Eduardo Flowers at QB, the senior. for the Lions. Flowers the snap. The handoff to Washington. To the right side he goes. He can't get away from the pressure, and he's brought down. That'll bring up 3rd down for the Lions. So a pretty good return by Marcus Barr on the punt. So far nothing to show for it though if you're the Lions, as both of their plays thus far in the drive have been for losses of yards. But obviously still one more to go, maybe 2 if they choose to go for it on 4th, but Barr is back in the game. Probably just needed a rest from that long return he had and the 2 consecutive plays. He rolls out to his left, throws to Glenn, and it's complete on the left side. Glenn makes a move, still on his feet, and eventually wrestled out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. So a nice gain there by the Lions to pick up some yards, as Maurice Glenn, that's going to be his 2nd reception of the game. He had 3 but on the last drive that the Lions had, but it was called back based off of a false, no, I don't remember what the penalty was, but it was a penalty on the Lions to say the least, and this will bring up 4th down now. So yeah, Maurice Glenn was also part of a reverse run that the Lions had where he picked up a large chunk of yards. So a pretty good game for him, as we've got a timeout called. So the coaches will talk it over with their teams while we've got a second here with the timeout. Not sure if we got to this in our opening. Obviously, we've seen Calvin Washington a couple times, I should say more than a couple times throughout this game. Last week when he rushed for 13 times for 130 yards, it was his first start at running back at the varsity level. So, pretty good way to go out. He's still very young. He's only a sophomore this year, so who knows what the ceiling might be for the young number 24, Calvin Washington. You expect him to grow a little bit, maybe put on some more muscle as he gets into his junior year and eventually his senior year, but the sky's the limit for Mr. Washington there, as he's having himself a pretty good game on both ends of the field. He's contributed well on the defensive side with some stops. It was Cooley Francis who had the interception, but a good game on both ends indeed, as now this will bring up 4th down. The Lions will go for it. Barr from the line, steps back to pass, avoids pressure, throws it deep, and that's going to be intercepted. It's picked off by the Eagles. Trying to get a number, it's going to be Kerry James with the interception for the East Eagles. Number 24, Kerry James, saw that ball up in the air and picked it right off, as obviously the throw by Barr was a little bit short, but not much he could do, as the pressure certainly was on its way.
We don't do no instant replays though.
3:19 remaining in this second quarter, and the East Eagles will take over from their own territory. I think it'll be inside the 10-yard line where Kenny Wilson and his troops will take over. Snap, Wilson will take it himself up the middle. He makes a move to his left, a spin move to his right, brought down, but he has enough for the 1st down. That's a good rush there by Kenny Wilson, and a lot of guts, to say the least, on his end for being able to take that right up the middle and gain the kind of yards that he did. 1st down once again for East. Wilson the snap, and he'll take it again. Up the middle he goes for a gain of a few, not nearly as much. There is a flag on the play. Awaiting the signal from the official referee, and it looks like he's telling the East team to make sure that they're staying over on their own side of the sideline.
That's for me? This for me? Oh, you're awesome.
So this will bring up second down for the Eagles. It'll be from the 24-yard line. They've still got quite a few yards to go to pick up another first down. Here's Wilson out of the gun. He hands it off to Deljon Johnson. And I think he did pick up a few yards there, but it's going to be short of the first down. It'll be third down now for the Eagles.
I said, Gwen, what you mean? I don't know no Gwen. I
do not see Freddie Brock in the backfield for the Eagles. He's usually their go-to guy in these types of situations. We'll see what they got. Wilson back to pass. The pressure's coming. He rolls to his right. He's going to take it himself, and he makes a great move and loses the ball, and it's recovered by the Lions and taken down to inside the 10-yard line. Sorry, I had some obstruction there. I wasn't able to see what the actual play was, but it looks like it was picked up by Jaquez Cochran, and the Lions will take over with fantastic field position and a great opportunity to add to their lead here as the second quarter winds down. Sorry, I originally said he brought it to inside the 10-yard line, but it looks like he was out of bounds at the 15. So that's where they'll mark it down for now. We're down to 1:40 to go in this second quarter. We'll see if the Lions can in fact add to this lead that they have built so far. Bar to the line on first down. Oh, and there's a quick whistle right at the snap. A flag has flown. False start will be the call on the Lions.
So let me tell you about people having to go back. So I get a text message. I'm going to see my estimate.
I got the corner shot.
So it'll be a 5-yard penalty on the Lions. It'll be a replay of first down.
I'm mad because we went last night. Keisha, yeah. Why every time now? I swear to God, every time I turn out, she comes in.
Bar to the line once again. And he loses the ball on the snap. A bit of a scramble right at the focal point of the play. We'll see who comes up with it. And yeah, the Lions do recover, and that'll bring up second down. As Marcus Barr, I'm not sure what went wrong there. Maybe if it was his center who jumped the gun or himself who jumped the gun, but
I didn't know.
Barr out of the gun this time on second down. He wheels to his right, but he's brought down by, it looks like Keyshawn Williams, Keyshawn Williams coming up with the sack for East. A lot of emotion expressed there by Keyshawn Williams. He was obviously pumped after getting ahead of the play and bringing down Marcus Barr. We're down to 23 seconds remaining in the first quarter, and now the Lions will take their timeout. 6-0 is our score so far in favor of the Lions. They still have some time to run a couple of plays and maybe add to this lead before the first half ends, as there's still 20 seconds on the clock, but now they're getting a little bit behind the 8 ball. This will bring up 3rd down.
The coaching staff will have another discussion with them. There you get a look at the scoreboard. 20 seconds. There's the Lions coaching staff convening with their players,
trying to draw up the magic play that will maybe at least get them into a range where they can kick a field goal and add to the lead, but we'll see what they got. Their big guns are definitely on the field. Marcus Barr is in at QB. Cooley Francis is on the field, as well as Calvin Washington. So you would imagine the ball is going to get into the possession of somebody big. Maurice Glenn is out there as well. He's had a pretty big first half for this Lions team. Out of the gun is Barr. He steps back, the pressure's coming. He gets away and he's running down the right side to the 10-yard line, into the 10-yard line, and into the end zone for the touchdown. Well, sometimes you just have to improvise and think on your feet, and Marcus Barr did just that as he was out of the shotgun, stepped back to pass, but the pressure was coming rather quickly from the Eagles, and Barr saw an opening on his right side, and the rest is history as he took it the remaining distance and got himself into the end zone. That'll make it 12-0 for the time being for the Lions. We'll see what they do here. It looks like they are attempting the 2-point conversion. Yes, they are, as Barr and his crew are still out there. Barr to the line. The handoff up the middle, brought down, and this is going to be no good. So the score will be 12-0 for the Lions with 10.5 seconds to go in this first half, or second quarter to be exact, whichever way you prefer. So Marcus Barr, the quarterback here for this Leadership Academy Lions, and Calvin Washington have the 2 scores in the game thus far. Both were rushing touchdowns, and that's where we stand in the contest so far. As Leadership will prepare to kick this one away to East, the Eagles will obviously get the kick return out of it, and then maybe one play should they choose to do so before the half ends. But I would imagine the Lions are going to keep this one on the ground. It's going to be, what they typically refer to as a squib kick, to avoid any potential, or at least increase the odds of avoiding any potential return for a touchdown. We've seen East do it before. I think we saw them do it in the Wilson game. They've got some guys who can do it. Freddie Brock is, if the ball gets into his hand, he has shown the tendency to be able to use his speed. I believe Jalen Holmes will be back there as well. Once again, it will be Calvin Washington taking care of the kicking duties for Leadership.
Jordan got baseball cleats, football cleats, and all of that. With the East Bay magazine? There's no Jordan cleats right in there.
Washington will keep it on the ground, as mentioned before, and the Eagles will just fall on it, as that was pretty much the only choice they had. There was no use in trying to get up and run with it, as the danger of getting clocked and maybe turning the ball over was certainly there. So we'll see what East will do. I'm not sure if the coaching staff will attempt to run a play here with 9 seconds left. Perhaps maybe they just take the knee and get it to the half and try and regroup from there, but we'll see. as it will be first down. Well, it looks like they're going to try something here as an empty backfield is in play here for East. Here's the handoff up the middle, and not a whole lot on that carry by Deljon Johnson. And that should take us to the end of the second quarter, and there it is. That'll complete the first half here at the Trent Jackson Athletic Complex on the Franklin High School campus. It's the Leadership Academy Lions on top of the East Eagles by a score of 12-0 thus far in the games. It was Calvin Washington picking up a touchdown, as well as quarterback Marcus Barr picking up a rushing touchdown of his own, where we stand in the game thus far. We'll step out for a moment, but please, we'll be back for the second half, and we hope you'll join us then. So don't go away, folks. There's more to come.
How you doing today? All right. Yo, Black. Black. I just got here. You look like a slave, boy. You staying for the whole game? Yeah. I gotta get the big one. Next week, I got one. I got to get at the end. I got Sammy. Mr. Birkin. Hey, how are you? Good. How are you, Paul? Good. Tell Carrie I said hi. Good, without a doubt.
Gang. Oh, that's right.
When they were dating, it was so funny because I would always call her.
You just talked to me. No, I thought you said that.
What's Mr. Shade's here? Not standing. And I'm like, what's the teacher doing? Nobody has names. I like stuff like that. Mr. Shade. You got out there and look. Yeah. They like Mr. Shade. Okay, I got it. They left early this morning. Hear me, boo. Okay.
Brandon, you still up there? Nope. Alright, there's two students that are just outside the door. I'm going to stay on Layne shot. Can you show them if something gets out to the camera?
Oh my God. I'm doing this for sure with my name tag. For the house. For the house. What feel good? You know, we're talking about reaction. You know, predicting the play.
Well, you're going?
Oh, what is it about you?
I wanted to know who was going here. Everybody can't go if you ain't going. Oh. Don't make me follow the bus, Jay Marie. Jay Marie, I'm going to follow in the car.
Angie, right?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, you too. How's it going over there? Yeah, yeah. Oh, you at 58. You know, we back in our own village now. All right, so what we doing? We should have having space, green space, and field, and nothing there. Yeah, it's going well. Yeah. See you. Holding it down now, right? I hear that. I know, you got that right.
Oh, yeah.
We live for that.
We live for that.
We're almost there. We're almost there. This one right here.
I just said, I'm on the mobile now.
Yeah.
I'm with Butler Peterson. Yeah, so you know you need to pray for me every day.
Peterson's a wild man. I see him every once in a while.
I just said, we work always just for Friday. Just for Friday.
How the girls doing?
They're doing good.
Yeah. They sure?
Wow.
And they just detected it?
Well, no, it was before that.
Okay.
This right here?
Right.
The lions are leaders. Yeah. Those guys. Yeah, you got
I was up there sleeping with her last night. I just got rid of
That's my little Long time ago.
Yeah, so you got a 58 too. Is that just my sweatshirt?
Yeah, that's mine. But she does go there. Yeah.
That's good. You get to hang out there.
I don't think they, may or may not like it so much, but I'm there. You do. My son not so much. He like, okay, can you go now? Can you like go to another school now? Because I got this. I'm good. I need you here today.
Gracie wants me to go to her school.
I know that's right. Go Gracie.
I hear that.
She gonna change her mind when she get there.
Start seeing those. Yeah, I don't think I want
My dad is.
Not there yet. It's coming.
Yeah, I know that.
It's
I
coming.
know that. But she hasn't seen anything from else, so she's got any work for you know, Don's got a boyfriend yesterday, but you know, they're all so fun to see, so you know, she's where my work. I love them all. They're all my family. They're out of place. They are, the whole class is.
I love it.
I love those.
What's she at?
Oh yeah. They have
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. So she loves it out
That is you? Get out of here. Yeah. Yeah, my system keep going out though. Like sometimes they go out. I didn't know that was you.
No, they're combined. I just don't like the idea that they fall under leadership's AD because their AD is not as strong as what we're used to. Bounty is the AD.
That's right.
But Bounty is a strong AD. Bounty, if you screw up, you're done. This guy, he doesn't screw up. And I just don't like that. I think you gotta let the coach. And that's what I believe in. As a parent, if that's your kid's coach, let that coach coach.
Quality time with them. I know that's right.
But I want you to see what we
I'll be around.
I just harassed Coach Lee. I didn't think about that. I said, don't think because I'm in this building.
My boy.
That sounds just like him. Or put it on somebody
As soon
else.
as I walked up this morning, he did this.
I swear, I harassed him as soon as I walked out. So you better leave my friend alone. God bless you. Deal with you.
No, he just he did
How many guys he's going to get?
When he does.
And everybody's a bum. Everybody's a bum.
You're a bum and that's your boy. Bum. Yes.
I messed up here.
All right, well, let me head back.
All right, you better get on back up there. You too. Yes, absolutely.
You good? Look, they said.
But no, July 77.
That's our
My
baby.
school son, yes.
That's our baby.
He's in 11th grade this year.
I don't have to feed him. He should always be.
I do feed him at school every day.
Can't afford to feed
I can't afford to, but I do. Can't buy me some, right?
Yeah, a couple of kids.
They use.
You're not lying to me, are you? Is that true?
You gonna leave your hat?
Good matchup.
You're going to be in the bottom.
You gonna leave your
You're
hat?
not in the center.
That's right. I hope we get it, though. They got to get it together.
All right,
All right, Paul.
Go in. The sun might come out. You don't want to be out there without that. Shouldn't have left his hat here.
How many viewers we got? How many viewers we have? Doing well.
Welcome, Andy. Sound good. Sound good.
I got you later.
What's up, Mr. Tom?
Hey, now.
Game time. They playing. They trying to get water, all that other. Get on the field, put in that work. Alright, so we're season yeah, I was bored, but then you'll never want to stay home.
Never. So I said, look how why you don't buy your because they don't always look that brown.
Welcome back to the Trent Jackson Athletic Complex here at Franklin High School. Once again, my name is Matt Stathopoulos. We've got the East High Eagles taking on the Leadership Academy Lions, and it's the Lions on top of the Eagles heading into the second half, by a score of 12-0. We had a touchdown from Calvin Washington, a rushing touchdown, as well as a rushing touchdown from quarterback Marcus Barr of the Lions, and that is where we stand right now. We're moments away from the start of the second half. At this time, we'd like to once again thank our staff and everybody involved here. We've got Brandon, Josh, and my apologies for not mentioning him earlier. We also have Layne on one of the cameras as well. We've got 3 cameras here at midfield that are helping us capture the many different angles that you're seeing on the stream right now. And of course, we can't say thank you without mentioning Todd Hall as well, the guy who keeps us running on the same page and keeps us all together and making these broadcasts possible. So once again, thank you to everybody involved and to the nice facility here at Franklin, the Trent Jackson Athletic Complex, a relatively new field here at the complex. They've got nice turf on it, and it really makes the conditions much more friendly in terms of everything in consideration. Here's the kickoff. It's a bit of a squib by the Lions. The Eagles will recover it inside their own territory, but only slightly inside the 50-yard line. Yeah, I guess you can consider that an onside kick. It was definitely way less than what you would consider a squib kick. So East starting off with some pretty good field position in this third quarter, and they're going to look to be building as quick as possible, trying to generate as any momentum that they can to get themselves back into this game. It will be first down and 10 for the Eagles. Wilson on the snap. He will take it himself. As Kenny Wilson has done the quarterback sneak or the quick handoff and the quarterback run a couple times so far in this game. Some of those times it has worked very well. Other times it has backfired, and they've had losses of yardage, but at this point, anything that moves the ball is positive for the Eagles, and they've got good field position here to work with, and now on second down, we'll see what they can build. Here's the handoff to Johnson. He finds a seam on the left side and has enough for the first down. And that's the Deljon Johnson that we've seen quite a bit so far throughout the season, and a few more of those types of runs from Johnson could be the key turning point for the Eagles.
You're exposed. The worst kid ever.
Actually, they're not going to give the Eagles the first down. It'll be third down and about a yard. Johnson is in the backfield once again. Here's the rush, and now the Eagles will pick up the first down. No question that time. That was once again Mr. Deljon Johnson taking care of business for the Eagles. So a first down indeed. And
at this point, you can say the start to the second half, a drive like this is something the Eagles will definitely take. Like we said, they're just trying to move the ball at this point, take it little by little, and build off of that. And now it'll be 1st down and 10 from the 41. Wilson out of the gun with Johnson to his right, and he steps back to pass. Looks downfield, he's got a man, it's Brock, and it's off of his fingertips, incomplete. Freddie Brock, the guy who is brought into all kinds of situations on the offense for the Eagles, and this one was no different. As I like that play call by the East offensive coordinator, trying to almost like an attempt to surprise the Lions, and it nearly worked as it just hit off the fingertips of Freddie Brock. It'll be 2nd down and 10. The snap, Wilson will take it himself up the middle, and he springs forward for a big gain and maybe even enough for the 1st down. And we've got a player down. It's a Lions player. And so, bit of a stoppage there due to the injury, but all seems to be okay for right now, and play will resume.
He's gonna text me this morning. When you finish the game, I'm gonna be
We've got a second here. We want to also take this time, in the process of thanking everybody involved with this broadcast. Media teacher Mariel Spano-Russel is also here mentoring the student crew and helping out with making this broadcast possible. It's always good to see any kind of assistance, any kind of help we can get. 1st down once again for East. The handoff to Johnson. Down the right side he goes. He's brought down, but he picked up a good gain. This will be 2nd down now for East, as it took a while, but Deljon Johnson finally is starting to find his stride and looking more comfortable out there with moving the ball. So we'll see how often I do believe he's out there again, if they continue to keep it into his hands. Wilson will take it himself on this play. He does not go too far though, and that will bring up 3rd down. A 3rd down and short for the Eagles, as what's already been a pretty good drive, they're going to try and keep it going here. Here's the snap and the handoff up the middle. I don't know if he picked up enough. It's going to be close. And yeah, they will call this 4th down for East. And it looks like they are going to try and go for it.
They will indeed go for it, and why not at this point? You've had yourself a pretty good drive. Might as well look to continue building, and now there's going to be a timeout call. Timeout for the Eagles. As obviously, Coach Militello and his staff probably want a second look at this. As we said just a moment ago, not necessarily a risk. I mean, I guess you can always refer to it as a risk, but it's, in this case, a risk of going forward on 4th down is a risk that you have to take. You're down by 12. You've had yourself a pretty good drive. Might as well attempt to keep it going and trust your playmakers that they can come up with it. But the question is, whose hands do you put the ball in, as we're down to 6:55 remaining in this third quarter. They're calling it 4th down and 2 for East. So you don't have to pick up a lot to keep the drive going, but you haven't scored yet in the game. In some cases, that might be easier said than done. Kenny Wilson has Freddie Brock in his backfield along with him. Wouldn't exactly call that a surprise. He's also got 3 wide receivers on the field. Here's the snap and the handoff to Brock, and he does have enough for the 1st down. So a nice play call there by East, and a great gain by Freddie Brock to keep this drive going. It's been a fantastic drive for the Eagles thus far, and now they are really threatening and could really use some points in this situation if they're going to get back into this game. .6:27 remaining on the clock here in the third quarter. 1st and 10. The snap to Wilson. He will carry it himself. Has a couple of blockers to follow, but he's eventually brought down. He was brought down there by Calvin Washington with the Leadership Lions. Gain of a couple for Kenny Wilson. That'll bring up 2nd down. And when I say a couple, it was only a gain of 1. I didn't know that ahead of time, but thankfully we have a great announcement staff on hand here for helping me out and being an extra set of eyes. So 2nd down and 9 for East, and we've got another timeout whistled here. And once again, it'll be the Eagles taking the timeout. So another stoppage of play with the timeout as we get a look at the teams obviously rehydrating and going over their plan of attack here. We've got some other notes that we can mention while we have the time in terms of the Leadership Lions. Defensively, they're led by senior Eduardo Flowers. We've seen him get into the action a couple times today. He has missed 2 games this season due to injury, but also, in the times that he has been playing, he's recorded 23 tackles and 3 sacks. Additionally, senior Janelle Grayson has 19 tackles and 4 sacks, with also coming in Kevon Wyatt with 25 tackles and 3 sacks, as you get an idea of who's been contributing on the defensive side of things for this Lions team. And a very interesting note for the Lions, this is their 4th year as a varsity football program and only the 5th year overall. So still a lot of room to grow. They're still a very young team, but I would definitely say they are on the rise, as they are the team who's winning this game
by a score of 12-0 thus far. But here's 2nd down and 9 for the Eagles after the timeout. The handoff to Freddie Brock down the left side, and he's going to be tackled out of bounds. Not sure how much he picked up there, probably about 4. We'll see where they spot the ball, as this will bring up 3rd down. We're gonna say it's 3rd down and 6 for East. Just outside the 10-yard line it will be for the Eagles. So 3rd down and 6 gets you a 1st down and then makes it 1st and goal, but you are also within striking distance. So we'll see what Kenny Wilson can come up with here. And here's the handoff to Brock. Up the middle he goes, and he's brought down, and that'll bring up 4th down for the Eagles. So 4th and 6 once again. East converted last time on 4th down when they had it, so we'll see if they have any magic left and can get it done here. But I like the desperation moves by the coaching staff. You're down 12, you've got to get in it. The clock is not on your side. We're already down to 4:40 remaining in this 3rd quarter. Here's the snap, and Wilson rolls out to his left. He does not break the tackle, does not pick up the 1st, and it will be a turnover. Turnover on downs, that is, of course. Gotta be feeling good about yourself if you're the Lions after that stop. They've already got a comfortable lead that they built in the 1st half with 2 touchdowns from Calvin Washington. Or sorry, 1 touchdown from Calvin Washington and 1 from Marcus Barr. And now they take over with time winding down in the 3rd quarter, and it's up to them to continue building off of it. And I guess at this point their goal is to just eat as much time off the clock as they can. And here's the play on 1st down. Eventually brought down was Marcus Barr as he took it himself. This will bring up 2nd down for the Lions, as Marcus Barr was the one who took it himself on that 1st play. And my apologies, I didn't realize somebody was being attended to near the sideline there. So we've got a little bit of a stoppage of play. And I do believe that's Barr on the field. He's flexing his right arm. His right leg is being attended to. So I hope he's not seriously injured by any means.
I play in the steep.
So 2nd down it is for the Lions. Here's the handoff to Cooley Francis. And that'll bring up 3rd down, as I think they still have about 4 or 5 to go before picking up the 1st. Third down and 4 for the Lions, and this would be a big conversion if they could get it.
And here's another quick handoff. Up the middle they go. I don't think they are not going to pick that one up, as that'll bring up 4th down for the Lions. And a big scramble going on as players are needing to be separated. Courtney Cooley-Francis, it feels like it's been a while actually since we've seen him get the ball into his hands, at least on a handoff. He had a couple in the first quarter. But here is 4th down with the punting unit on. And it is Cochran again with the punt. It's a low punt and a bit more line drive. That will roll to the 48-yard line, and that's where Leadership will down it, and also where East will take over. I think it's fair enough to say you like that punt by Jaquez Cochran. I mean, obviously they were pinned deep in their own end, so for Cochran to get it all the way out to just about the 50-yard line is a pretty good punt if you ask me. But at the same time, it still is some pretty good field position for East and an opportunity for them to generate some of that momentum. 2:24 remaining in this third quarter, with the Lions still on top by a score of 12-0. Wilson and his troops are back on the field. Here's a handoff to Freddie Brock. He goes down the right side, has enough for the first, and is then out of bounds just before the 30-yard line.
I know what you meant by the Orients. Remember
that's when we had a real team.
I slipped up earlier and I said Orients.
So it'll be 1st down once again for East. As we'll see what Kenny Wilson has. Freddie Brock is to his right once again. This time it's a handoff to Johnson. Johnson up the middle and has a pretty good gain himself. John Johnson, who has had the majority of the carries for the East Eagles this afternoon. So it'll be 2nd down and a few for East. They're moving the ball well these first 2 plays. Here's now another handoff to Freddie Brock, and he's quickly bombarded by the defense. That is going to be Eduardo Flowers on the stop for the Lions. We've seen this a couple times in this game for East, where they get a big gain and then a big loss on the very next play that kind of ruins any momentum that they've had. But the drive is not over. It's only 3rd down. Still an opportunity here to make a big play and keep it going. As Wilson's out of the gun with Johnson and Brock to his sides. Here's the handoff to Brock. Brock has enough for the 1st down the right side, and he's out of bounds just before the 10-yard line. 49 seconds remaining in this 3rd quarter. And a late flag coming after the play. Holding on the offense is going to be a call, so this is going to come back. Now this is all of a sudden going to bring up 3rd and 11, so what was originally 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6 or something along those lines now is a bigger task at hand for East. And Freddie Brock, after a kind of run like that, does he have enough energy to make a play like that? We'll find out in a bit here as Wilson steps back to pass. He looks downfield, he's got a man, and it is complete for the Eagles touchdown. It's going to be Jalen Holmes on the reception, and sometimes things have a way of working out, as that was the story on that particular play for East. A great run by Freddie Brock gets called back. It ends up being 3rd and 11. They end up trying to air it out, and it ends up resulting in a touchdown for the Eagles as Kenny Wilson completes a very drastic and lucrative pass, I guess you can call it, to Jalen Holmes to get the touchdown for East. And they will go for 2 following up here. Here's the handoff to Brock. He makes a move to his right, another move to his right. Can he squeeze in? He does! Back-to-back jukes to his right by Freddie Brock, but he was able to eventually cut back to his left and get in for the 2-point conversion. And we've got ourselves a ball game, folks. With 41 seconds remaining in this 3rd quarter, it is now 12-8 in favor of the Lions, but the East Eagles with the most recent touchdown and 2-point conversion to get to within 4. But we still got 41 seconds, to play in this 3rd quarter, and then we've got our whole 4th quarter remaining. And a drive like this is just what the doctor ordered for the Eagles. They've got momentum and probably a slab of confidence as well, as we get a look here at the Lions convening, trying to make sure that everybody's in the right mindset and ready to protect this lead. But if you're East, you definitely have to be feeling that line of confidence as mentioned earlier.
Leadership score. Good job, Wes. Good job, Taylor.
Eagles will kick it away. Marcus Barr, the star quarterback for the Lions, is back to return it, as well as Maurice Glenn, who's had himself a pretty good game at wide receiver for the Lions. And here's the kick. It will bounce all the way into the end zone, and this will come back for a touchback. So the Lions will start the drive from their own 20-yard line. This would not be the first time that the Lions marched all the way down the field and scored from their own 20-yard line, or even further, as their very first scoring play of the drive was the result of an interception from inside their own 10-yard line. So they could definitely use a drive like that this time. As here's the handoff to Washington. He looks for an opening on the right side. He's not going to find one, and he's brought down. Should be no gain on the play, maybe even a loss of 1 or so. And this is where, if you're East, you're crossing your fingers and hoping that your defense can come up with a big stop, because it would be crucial in a situation like this. It will be 2nd down for the Lions. And that will take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. So teams will switch sides and we'll pick it up from there. But the East Eagles are the ones coming back
in that third quarter after a late touchdown by Jalen Holmes after a phenomenal pass by Kenny Wilson to get him in the back of the end zone. And Jalen Holmes was a guy who, in the previous games we've done this season, the Churchville Chi-Lite game, the Wilson game, he had some big plays. Tonight, today he's been pretty quiet though. I don't think he had any receptions in that first half at all. But sure enough, just when you think they're going away is when guys surprise you sometimes. And sure enough, he was the one who came up with the big catch to get East back into this game. And then the 2-point conversion was good after a nice run by Freddie Brock. It looked like Freddie Brock on the run was taking himself out of the play. He was juking to his right back-to-back times. But hey, he knew what he was doing because eventually he cut himself back left and found his way into the end zone to get 2. And that's where we stand as we get set for the fourth quarter here at the Trent Jackson Athletic Complex on the Franklin campus in the city of Rochester. 12-8 in favor of the Lions as we are just about set to begin the fourth quarter. The Lions will take over from their own territory, which is now to our right, and they'll be going back left. And it will be second down.
Let's go now, let's get a touchdown, let's go!
Second down for the Lions. Marcus Barr on the field at the line. And he steps back, rolls to his left, trying to get away from the pressure. There's a flag down. Barr will eventually run out of bounds. He picks up a pretty good gain. We'll see what the flag is. Two officials, including the head official, discussing it over. And the coach wants an explanation. It looks like it's going to be against East. But we'll wait for the official signal. So it's going to be defensive holding. So yes, it is indeed against East. Defensive holding, and they are moving the chains. That'll be first down for they are going to call it a first down for Leadership Academy here. Once again, Marcus Barr to the line. As now it appears they are moving. Here's a handoff to Washington. And he's brought down just beyond the line of scrimmage, so he does pick up a yard. Not a whole lot. Try our best to provide as many time updates as we can. We're down to 11:20 remaining in the fourth quarter. It's the Lions who have the ball now on top by a score of 12-8. I would say East has the momentum though, as they were the most recent scoring team. But here's a nice handoff for the Lions to Maurice Glenn, but he is brought down. And that stop draws applause from the remaining East teammates and the East Eagles fans who have made it over here to Trent Jackson Athletic Complex on the Franklin campus. This will bring up third down for the Lions now. The Lions have had some big plays on third downs in the past in this game. Do they have another one in store for us here, as Barr will drop back to the shotgun? A bit of a bad snap, but he has it. Throws it over the middle, and that one's intercepted. It is picked off by Deljon Johnson, and he will take it to the house.
Deljon Johnson, the ball was tipped, and it was essentially served on a platter for him, and he took it the rest of the way, and just like that, the Eagles have the lead. And there was a flag on the play for false start on the Lions, but that's going to be declined, and the Eagles have the touchdown. So it is now 14-12 in favor of East. We'll see if they go for 2 again. Deljon Johnson has had quite the game on the ground, running it for East. And now he contributes with a pick 6. Trying to get an idea. It doesn't look like, if I had to guess, it doesn't look like this is a field goal unit on the field for the Eagles. So that leads me to believe they are going for 2 here, as we've got a football exchange going on the turf right now. Yeah, Freddie Brock is on the field. They are indeed going for 2, and I should say Kenny Wilson as well at QB. They gave it to Brock last time to get the 2-point conversion. East is forced to take a timeout there as they were running low on there. So obviously if they get this 2-point conversion here, that will make it a 4-point game, which would make it 16-12. So obviously that puts them in the clear of any field goal that the Lions might get, should they get one. So it provides them with a little bit more breathing room, and I guess allows the defensive core to breathe a little bit more comfortably as well. But they got to get it first, and they certainly did last time, as it was none other than Freddie Brock who took the handoff and found his way in after, like I said, juking multiple times to his right to the sideline, but then eventually cutting back to find his way in. And we'll see what they do here. Freddie Brock is obviously the go-to, but as it's been proven in this game thus far, East does have other weapons. Jalen Holmes has their first touchdown of the game after a nice pass from Kenny Wilson. And Kenny Wilson has carried the ball himself many times in this game, so I guess East has done a good job setting themselves up with some variety here, so that could serve as a trick to the defending Lions. Now we'll try this again, as here is the 2-point attempt. Wilson out of the gun, as always. And it's a low snap. He steps back to pass, rolls to his right, avoids a tackle, jukes to his left, and is not going to get in, so the 2-point conversion is therefore no good.
Mr. White, he's going to put it up.
So it will be 14-12 in favor of East, with 9:20 remaining in this 4th quarter. Now, the tables have indeed turned. If you are the Leadership Academy Lions, they led for a great chunk of this game. They were up 12-0 for, I'd say, the majority of it, and all of a sudden, in an instant, in a matter of about 5 to 10 minutes, everything has changed. The Eagles got their touchdown late in the 3rd quarter. They had the Lions pinned in their own end. Deljon Johnson comes up with an interception and carries it to the house, and that's where we stand. 14-12 in favor of East, but the Lions have showed signs and showed flashes of offensive brilliance, so we'll see what they have in store. As I'm sure, looking ahead here, Calvin Washington will be busy. I believe Courtney Cooley-Francis will get his fair share, and perhaps maybe Maurice Glenn. Perhaps maybe Maurice Glenn gets into the game a little bit more. He's already been pretty busy. He's had a couple of receptions and a lot of yards on the ground as well, so maybe the Lions use him a little bit more as they look to get a little bit desperate here and try and get back, as they're the ones playing catch up now. Kenny Wilson will kick this one away for the Eagles. I want to be sure I let you all know it's 9:50 is what the clock reads in this fourth quarter. Kenny Wilson kicks it down the left side. It's retrieved there by Maurice Glenn. He makes a move to his left. He gets a block to the 30, now to the 40, and just short of the 50-yard line. A phenomenal return by Maurice Glenn. I think for a good 5 or 6 yards there, he was like probably no less than 2 inches away from the out of bounds marker, but he kept on trucking and nearly got to the 50-yard line. It looks like the officials are giving him the 50-yard line spot, so a great return by Maurice Glenn indeed to set his team up with some great field position as they play catch up and look to get this game tied, or I should say take the lead, because they're only down by 2. The official talking things over with some linemen here, as I'm not sure what the delay is. Now it looks like everybody will convene and will resume play as Marcus Barr steps to the line as he has all afternoon. Here's the handoff to Washington. He picks up about 4 yards on that play. He was looking for an opening, found one momentarily, but then was quickly brought down, as that should bring up 2nd down and 6 for the Lions.
And lay your hammer down. Punish the tackler. Punish him. No, they don't need to pass. He threw an interception. Good job, 8. Good job, number 8. Good job, number 8.
3 wideouts on the field now for 2nd down, as Barr successfully gets the defensive line to jump, and that will move the ball forward for the Lions. Very Aaron Rodgers-esque of Marcus Barr right there, as Aaron Rodgers, obviously the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. For those of you who watch the NFL know that he probably tries at least 10 times a game to get the defensive line to jump, and a lot of times he is successful. And in this case, Marcus Barr did exactly that. Caught about 3 or 4 guys on the East D-line off guard there. And we've got another flag on the play and some more movement on the line. And now this one will come back the other way as the Lions get whistled for false start. So Marcus Barr's trickery all for nothing, essentially, as the Lions are back to where they started to originally begin 2nd down. And here's Barr, the handoff to Cooley-Francis. Down the left side, he muscles his way to the 45-yard line where he's run out of bounds, as he had some pressure coming there from Andre Jenkins and Dasani Constantine of the East Eagles. This will bring up 3rd down. now for the Lions with 8:01 remaining in this fourth quarter. I'll remind you, it is 14-12 in favor of the Eagles. It was 12-0 coming into this second half. At the end of the third quarter, it was the Eagles. Jalen Holmes catching a 30-yard reception for a touchdown, and then most recently, Deljon Johnson with a pick six from the defensive side of things, taking it to the house. And a two-point conversion was also mixed in there as well after Jalen Holmes' touchdown. But here is third down, and that pass is blocked as it was Marcus Barr stepping back to make the pass, and the Eagles coming up with a nice bat of the ball to knock it down, and that'll bring up third down. I'm sorry, this is third down now. I mentioned it the first time I had my downs a little bit confused, but so this will be third down for the Lions right now. Yes, I forgot because it was a penalty as the reason why it was a repeat of second down, so my apologies for that. But third and long now for the Lions. A time where they need to be desperate as there's only 7:55 remaining on the clock. Yes, they're only down 2, but here's Barr. Rolls to his right. He's going to take it himself. He takes a hit as well, and then he's eventually brought down for another loss of yards. That'll bring up fourth and even longer this time around. So you're caught in a bit of a situation here if you're the Lions. I mean, the time is running. There's 7:24 left. You've got the ball at about midfield. Do you kick this one away? And actually, now that I look out there, Jaquez Cochran is on the field, so that is leading me to believe that they are going to kick this one away. Yeah, Cochran is lining up as if they're going to punt. Marcus Barr is on the field as well, so I don't know if they have any trick plays. And there it is. Barr with the pass to Glenn, and Glenn has the first down and more inside the 10 and all the way into the end zone for the Lion touchdown. So the Lions indeed had a trick play up their sleeves. As I had pointed out, Jaquez Cochran was in the backfield to punt it, but that Marcus Barr was also lined up at the line of scrimmage. And sure enough, the direct snap was to Barr, and Barr just not necessarily a shovel pass, but a quick pass, we can call it, right into the hands of Maurice Glenn. And Maurice Glenn had a ton of space to work with, and he made the most of it. And just like that, the Lions have taken the lead back.
No, don't do that in front of me. No.
For the time being, it is 18-14 in favor of the Lions, and Marcus Barr is on the field again. They're going to go for 2. They are definitely going to go for 2 here. As Barr will take it up the middle, but there is a flag thrown, so this one will come back, and we'll have a repeat. And it's going to be on the Lions as well, so they'll have to attempt a 2-point conversion from a little bit further back. I like this decision to go for 2, obviously, because if you get it, then it makes it a 6-point game, and there's no guarantees. In the event East does get a touchdown, there's no guarantees they get the field goal for the extra point or to take the lead. So it's obviously a smart decision by the coaching staff here. But now the Lions will have to convert this 2-point conversion from a little bit further back. Let's see what they have. Barr steps back to pass, throws to the left, and it's incomplete. It was intended for Washington.
She about to hop the fence. Watch it.
6:49 to go in this fourth quarter, and it is 18-14 in favor of the Leadership Academy Lions. Just like that, they take the lead back. What a game this has been so far here at Trent Jackson Athletic Complex on the Franklin campus here in the city of Rochester. I'd like to give one final thank you to all of our staff on hand here for making this broadcast possible. We've got Josh, Brandon, and Layne running the cameras for us. You know, know, thanks very much, guys, for helping me out with the appropriate zooms and allowing me to see the players a little bit better, especially now with the sun coming out to end this game. It's going to make it a little bit tough, especially with those white East jerseys. And also a big thank you to Todd Hall, the man in production, directing, keeping us on the air and keeping the stream going. Thanks for everything that you do, Todd, and we appreciate having the ability to call and broadcast these games. So with 6:49 to go, the Lions will kick it off to the East Eagles once again. And East will try and put together some of the more recent drives that they've had, as those have been the more successful ones. And what we are not too far removed from that wonderful pass by Kenny Wilson to Jalen Holmes that got the Eagles their first touchdown and first score of the game. But like always now, it's going to be their big name guys who are going to be busy. Freddie Brock, Jalen Holmes, everybody's. There's an onside kick from the Lions recovered by the Eagles, so they will have pretty good field position. Looks like from their own 44-yard line, so they have something to work with here. Bit of an interesting decision by the Lions to go with an onside there. I'd say at the very least maybe go with a squib kick. Keep it on the ground, of course, but you just gave East some pretty good field position to work with, and I'm sure Kenny Wilson is appreciative of that, as here he is taking the snap and handing it to Freddie Brock. He goes down the left side, picks up about 5, but there is a flag on the play. The near side referee almost immediately threw his flag right after the handoff. And we'll await the head official to come on out and
Make the signal. False start on East is going to be the call, so that gain by Freddie Brock will come back.
So I believe now it's going to be 1st and 15 for the Eagles. Yes, that is the official marking there. So Eagles digging themselves a bit of a hole here, and I think it's safe to say with 6:40 to go. No, I shouldn't say it's safe to say that this would be their last drive, but time is of the essence, and they've got to move quick. So let's see what they can drum up here.
Challenge on the play.
As there you get a look at Maurice Glenn making his way over to the sideline for leadership. The hero for the Lions at the moment, as he's the one who caught that pass from Marcus Barr on the fake punt and took it to the house. And that's where we stand, 18-14 in favor of the Lions. But here are the Eagles trying to come back. 1st and 15. Kenny Wilson is out of the gun. And he hands this one off to Johnson. Johnson up the middle. A big gain by Deljon Johnson. He's got the first down, and then some, and the ball has come out. And we're waiting the official signal, and there, the 2 officials have already signaled that the Lions have the ball. I was just about to say another one of those situations where the Eagles get penalized. They lose yards. It's a greater task to pick up the next first down. Then Deljon Johnson carries it for beyond 15 yards, but then he loses the football, and the Lions recover, and obviously they take over from there. And in the meantime, we've got a player down on the field. Oh, it's Deljon Johnson. So in the midst of him losing the football and turning it over, it looks as if he is in some discomfort, as both medical teams from both teams are out there attending to him. I would guess it's probably something in one of his legs, but now he's being helped up to his feet.
And he's walking very gingerly, and obviously there's a little bit of a limp to his step. But what a feel-good moment for the Leadership Academy Lions, as that's a great fumble recovery. Any team would always take a fumble recovery if they can get one in such a crucial time. Now they have the opportunity to eat up some clock, as we're down to 6:30 remaining in this fourth quarter. As Marcus Barr will do his thing, as he's had himself a pretty good game. Here's a fake handoff to Glenn, and then an actual handoff to Washington, but Washington is brought down for a loss.
Keyshawn Williams on the tackle for the Eagles.
People don't want to drive out there. That's why they want to get a local.
We got the car for him.
Huh? I'm cold, bro.
We got the car for him to drive out there. We got it.
Yeah, you might as well come out there then. Because we looking for people.
This will be second down and long for the Lions after the loss on that last play. Here's a handoff to Cooley Francis, looking for an opening on the left side. He doesn't find one, and he's brought down to bring up third down. As we are inside 5 minutes and 30 seconds to play here in the fourth quarter at Trent Jackson Athletic Complex on the campus of Franklin High School.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm about to my end. I'm on like about 20.
Be interesting to see the play call in a situation like this, because obviously
I'd rather go do a trade, because I don't want to get
obviously you don't want to turn the ball over in a situation like this. And oh my goodness, the ball is out. It's picked up by the Eagles, and they're eventually brought down, but a reverse run goes awry for the Leadership Lions, and the Eagles take over in the red zone.
Don't be acting like you don't know who I am, boy.
Wow, Maurice Glenn got the handoff, or I should say didn't get the handoff, as he was bobbling it the whole way and eventually lost it completely. And I missed the number on who recovered it for the Eagles. But at this point, I don't think they care. It doesn't matter to them who did either way, because they got the ball in the red zone, and now a chance to get themselves back into this game, as Kenny Wilson will come onto the field and try and work some magic here. As here's first down, handoff to Freddie Brock. Down the left side, Brock into the end zone, he goes. Touchdown Eagles, and the lead for the East High Eagles has been restored, as for the time being they now lead 20-18. Inside 5 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter, and it is a 20-18 lead.
Let's turn that red lobster into guineas. Come on, baby.
And I would imagine here that East will go for two. Or actually, wait a minute. No, they're only up by 2 right now, so maybe they kick the field goal here, or...
I was looking like, yo, that was like blue.
No, and it appears, yeah, they're going to go for it, as Kenny Wilson is on the field once again.
All right, you still going to be my boy, though. I'm still going to call you my boy. I don't like none of them boys.
So delay of, and now the Eagles are going to be whistled for delay of game, as I don't think we got the official shot on the stream here, but interestingly enough, not a single field goal has been attempted in this game. No field goal or extra point. As here's Wilson on the 2-point conversion. He takes it himself up the middle, and he is not in. So the 2-point conversion is no good for the Eagles,
Give me some insurance, boy. Give me some insurance.
They do have the lead 20-18 with 4:45 to go in this fourth quarter, but it'd be interesting now
Which one you at?
if the Lions can at least get themselves within field goal range to try and take the lead by 1 point. But
No, I mean like good paint. Don't
I
mess
mean,
up my day.
based off of the last few drives that they have, they can't be feeling too confident right now. That is just an absolute heartbreaker. An attempted reverse run. We've seen them do it a couple times today, and it's worked well. And I think the very first time they did it, it was Maurice Glenn on the eventual carry, and he picked up a big gain. But that time, something just went wrong with the handoffs, and they couldn't make it happen. And to make matters worse, they turn it over. So we will see how the rest of this plays out.
You ain't said nothing but a word. Look, yeah. You ain't charging me. You only can charge me $150 a room, though. So I get the family discount. I'm almost your godmother-in-law. I get the family discount.
Kenny Wilson will kick this one away for the Eagles, and the Lions will get another attempt at it. And Wilson keeps this one on the ground, and that's out of bounds. So that's going to be that's going to be flagged for illegal procedure.
Here, you can sit right here, baby, so you don't
So yeah, the Lions will end up with pretty good field position here as they try and the Eagles trying to keep that ball on the ground and not make it dangerous for a return. So it'll be at the 41-yard line for the Lions. So they have good field position to work with, still with 4:45 to go.
Why you playing, William? You know I ain't playing.
So now it'll be first down from the 41-yard line for the Lions. Here's the handoff to Washington, and he's quickly brought down for no gain on the play. So the Lions obviously need to keep in mind, and I know they're aware, but every time you run the ball and your back doesn't get out of bounds, obviously that clock continues to run. So it's definitely something to be cautious of as the rest of this plays out.
Everybody thought I was a senior at my 10th grade year. That is.
Here's second down. Marcus Barr lining up out of the gun.
It is.
And he looks to his left, throws incomplete, intended for Maurice Glenn as the pass was tipped on its way. Third down and 10 now for the Lions as we are inside 4 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. The Eagles on top, the East High Eagles on top of the Leadership Academy Lions by a score of 20-18. It has been quite the back and forth second half here at Trent Jackson Athletic Complex. I wish I could recap all of the back and forth, but I don't want to miss the plays that are about to come. So in the meantime, it's third down here for the Lions. Marcus Barr out of the gun again. He steps back, and he's quickly brought down by Keyshawn Williams. Keyshawn Williams is quietly having quite a game for the Eagles on defense as he got through that offensive line and immediately got to the quarterback Barr and brought him down, and now it will be fourth and very long for the Lions. Marcus Barr in this Lions offense is definitely going to need something magical to keep this drive alive. Obviously, there's still time to play. 3:10 in the fourth quarter we're down to, but with East getting the ball back, it wouldn't be good. Here's fourth down. Barr back to pass. He looks downfield, and that one's going to be intercepted. Back come the Eagles. and out of bounds at the 24-yard line, as that is going to be Jaquan Close on the, or Kerry James. Sorry, yeah, Kerry James with the interception. I thought that was 34 at first, but it's no, number 24. Kerry James with the interception, and obviously the change of possession for East. And there was also a personal foul whistled on the Lions.
Oh my God, that boy is stupid. No. I'm done with him.
So obviously probably some frustration on the Lions side of things, but it still doesn't give you an excuse to get extra rough. You know, when it looked like James was pretty much out of bounds, so I understand why the referees whistled that. But you'll see here as we're inside 3 minutes remaining, will the Eagles try and tack on some extra points? I would imagine they would. As here's the handoff to Freddie Brock. Brock went left, then went back up the middle. Now he's going right, and he's into the end zone. Freddie Brock does it again. Freddie Brock has had quite the afternoon here, and he picks up yet another touchdown, and this providing some insurance, to say the least, for the East Eagles. 26-18 is the score right now for the Eagles, and I mean, for the sake of just getting one field goal or extra point attempt in this game, it's good to see the Eagles actually attempting that extra point here. And there's going to be a flag whistled here. I think there was some movement on the line. Yeah, offsides on the Lions. So now a different unit coming onto the field for the Eagles. We'll see what they've got drawn up. Seemed like there was some frustration, and that the coaching staff from the Lions was upset earlier. A lot of them wanted explanations from the refs, but doesn't look like it's going to be of any change, as the score still reads the same. And now Kenny Wilson is back on the field for East. They will attempt a two-point conversion. It's a bad snap and recovered by, it doesn't matter who recovered at this point. The matter is the two-point conversion is no good, so that's where the score will read with 2:47 remaining in this fourth quarter. 26-18 in favor of the Eagles. Man, what an afternoon it's been here at Trent Jackson Athletic Complex on the campus of Franklin High School. A lot of back and forth. A pretty good game played by the Lions, but some costly turnovers in important times of the game have been the difference. And credit the East Eagles as well. Kenny Wilson has had a great second half with the touchdown pass to Jalen Holmes. Freddie Brock has been arguably the top player on the East Eagles all season, and he's had himself a great game as well. So the Eagles definitely did their due diligence, and that's where we stand right now with them on top by a score of 26-18. We've got some players down on the field just outside of the end zone. It looks like we've got one Eagles player and one Lions player down, clearly in some discomfort.
We at the club tonight. You see how he just tried to influence me?
Now the East player getting to his feet and able to walk off on his own power. I believe that was Bobby Seawright making his way back to the sideline for East. I'm still trying to get a number. Oh, it's Jaquez Jaquez Cochran for leadership getting to his feet and walking off on his own power as well. Very gingerly, of course, but it doesn't appear that there is any limp or anything like that in his step.
Leadership solid. That's not nice. I was just cool since I was a freshman.
So both teams will line up accordingly for the kickoff now. As we'll remind you, 2:47 remaining in this fourth quarter. It would be quite the comeback for the Lions, but now that I think about it, they're only down by 8 points, so it's a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, of course, and an onside kick is recovered by the Eagles. Did it go far enough, though? The Lions want an explanation, and we're waiting to hear some kind of confirmation. East is celebrating as if the ball is going to be theirs.
Hell no, man. Hell no. No, you know they doing some bullshit now. Wow.
So yes, all signs are pointing it will be East ball. And a bit of a trick play with the onside kick, and now they've got the opportunity to eat up more of this clock with 2:46 remaining as Kenny Wilson will come back onto the field, leading his troops in another handoff to you-know-who, Freddie Brock. Brock will pick up the first down and more to the 20, inside the 20 to the 10, 5, and another touchdown for Freddie Brock. And the Eagles have all but put this game out of reach. An 8-point deficit is now 14, with the potential to be a little bit more for the Lions. As looking back to the onside kick, I'm trying to distinguish if it was more so the Lions falling asleep, or was it that good of an onside kick? Perhaps maybe the Lions special teams unit did just fall asleep and they weren't ready for it. But either way, the Eagles ended up with it, and one play after that, Freddie Brock took it to the house. Probably a 40-plus yard run there for Freddie Brock. Here's the snap, and the kick is no good, the extra point. So there we go. We finally have our first attempted extra point / field goal of the game. It is no good, but right now the East Eagles are sitting comfortably on top of the Leadership Academy Lions by a score of 32-18 here in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter with 2:33 remaining, I should say. So time is not on the side of the Lions, to say the least. But when the Lions look back at the tape, and I think when they reminisce about this game, they're going to realize they pretty much did it to themselves. A costly turnover, as I mentioned a moment ago, from Maurice Glenn. The onside kick by the Eagles, that happened even more recent than that. Those are plays that you can't allow happen, especially when you're trying to play catch-up. But ultimately, a phenomenal comeback by the East Eagles, who at one point trailed this game by a score of 12-0, and the Eagles have come back and put up 32 of their own. So we'll see what they got in store for this kickoff. I wouldn't imagine they would onside kick it here again, but we'll see. Wilson kicks this one, and it lands at about the 25. It's picked up there, and not much of a gain there for the Lions, as that's where they'll take over from.
about the 25-yard line. So it'll be first down and 10 from the 27-yard line for the Lions. We'll see what they can muster up here in the final 2:27 of this fourth quarter. Here's Barr back to pass. He looks downfield and way downfield, but it's a little bit overthrown as that was intended for Kiashman Hendricks. Yes, sorry about that. Couldn't make out the number 9 on his jersey, but pretty good arm strength there shown by Marcus Barr, but the precision was a little bit off as it was clearly overthrown. Marcus Barr will line up from the gun again here on second down. A high snap, a screen to Maurice Glenn. Glenn makes a move to his left, then back to his right, and he's eventually brought down short of the first down, but a pretty good gain. Third down and 1 it will be now, as we're inside 2 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. Barr out of the gun. He steps back, looking downfield for Eduardo Flowers, and maybe perhaps some contact there. The Lions sideline was looking for a pass interference call. It doesn't look like they're going to get one, and that'll bring up 4th and 1. I feel like the pass would have been overthrown as well. But, I mean, still, if there is contact, you can't assume in that situation. You've got to call that pass interference. But obviously the officials disagree, and we will continue here at 4th and 1 for the Lions. Any hopes of coming back rely on this play right here for the time being. And here's Barr to take it himself. He will pick up the first down and more. So that'll keep the drive going as we're down to 1:29 remaining in the fourth quarter. And they will take some time, the Lions will, to talk this over. Remind you again, if you're joining us late, what a back and forth contest it has been here this afternoon at Trent Jackson Athletic Complex on the campus of Franklin High School. The Lions led this game 12-0 for all of the first half. Well, not all of the first half, but the majority of it. And then it was a play at the end of the third quarter that changed everything as Jalen Holmes caught a pass from Kenny Wilson from beyond, I'd say, 30 yards that got them that got the Eagles their first touchdown and back in it. But here's 1st and 10, meanwhile, from the 45. Back to pass, intended here and caught, eventually brought down by Marcus Barr, because he was in at wide receiver. I didn't get a make on who the quarterback was. Because he was left-handed. I noticed it was different. Oh yes, thank you. It was Eduardo Flowers in at QB there, making that pass and completing it to Marcus Barr. So now all of a sudden it'll be first down inside the 20, and Flowers will spike it to stop the clock. So with 1:17 to go in the fourth quarter, bring up second down inside the 20-yard line. Second down and 10, I should say, as the Lions are looking for a last-ditch effort to try and get back into this game, but it's going to be quite the climb if they are to get back into it. Stepping back is Flowers. The throw for Barr, and that one's intercepted in the end zone, and that will seal it. A nice interception on the play by the Eagles. It's Kerry James with his second interception of the game, and he's had quite an afternoon on the defensive side for East. So a nice initial play by Eduardo Flowers, the substitute quarterback for the Lions, the big left-hander, to air that one out and find Marcus Barr down the field, but that was all for nothing at this point as the Lions once again turn the ball over. I believe that's their fourth or fifth turnover of this game. And I remember George Radney and I, when we were on the call for the other East High School games this year, we had mentioned East problems being turnovers, but here the Eagles are up 32-18 with time winding down in this fourth quarter, and it looks like they are going to seal it with 1:10 remaining. And that was first down for the Neal. It'll bring up second down and 10, and the Eagles will kneel it the rest of the way. So once again, the East Eagles fans who made it to this side of the city for the game today are in a bit of a frenzy as they begin to celebrate East victory, as one more kneel should bring it down to the end here. And that's all she wrote for this one, folks. It's the East High Eagles coming out on top of the Leadership Academy Lions by a score of 32-18 here at Trent Jackson Athletic Complex on the campus of Franklin High School. There we get one last pan of the stands and both teams on the field here at the field. Well, we thank you once again for joining us on this broadcast, and you know, you can always refer back to it. It'll be uploaded to YouTube within the next day or so. My name is Matt Stathopoulos. For our entire crew here, Brandon, Josh, and Layne on the cameras, and of course to our director and producer, Todd Hall, thank you very much for joining us and for all of your support this season, and we sure hope we will see you next time. Have a great day, everybody.
win. Nice job.
I'm telling you, that was a miracle.
There's a bell.